Hi everyone, this is Lisa Haven and I've got a ton of information to cover with you today, specifically in regards to the Syrian refugee crisis, the immigration crisis that's happening all across the world, in many European countries and also as well as here in America, as 10,000 more are set to hit our shores in 2016. Now, not only that, but I'm also going to be delving into some stuff with Mark Zuckerberg, how he is backing the Syrian refugee crisis and pushing for it, as well as blocking, and I've stated this before, any posts that are anti-immigration here in America. We know in Germany you actually get a fine if you're caught saying anything against immigration on Facebook. You can face up to 29 days in jail, and I believe $3,000 or $5,000 euro fine on that. Now, what I also want to do is cover what happened in Turkey. Now, we know President Obama spoke at the G20 summit on November 15th and 16th. That was the days of that summit, and he spoke, and that took place in Turkey. Well, I also want to start off with a video that was filmed in Turkey when they took a moment of silence for the events that transpired in Paris. I want to show you what happened there as we dive into this report. Let's go there. Okay, so here's the first mail link. It's on dailymail.co.uk, Mail Online, and it states, Turkey fans boo during pre-match minute silence for the victims of Paris attack, and they chant Allah Akbar before Greece friendly. Turkey fans were heard booing during the minutes of silence for victims of the Paris attacks before the kickoff. Chants of Allah Akbar, the Islamic phrase meaning God is greater, were reported heard in Istanbul. Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras and Turkish counterpart, and I can't pronounce that, watched the game together. It was the first time the two teams met for 8 years, and the Turkish Football Federation announced a string of additional security measures. So there, let me go ahead and play the video. Now, it's hard to make out, but let me play it so you can hear it. It's playing in the background. So I think you get the picture there, and I'm going to leave a link to that YouTube video. I couldn't show it here for copyright issues, but they are definitely yelling Allah Akbar. Moving on. Now, I know you guys found that report absolutely disturbing, and it disturbs me that here we have a horrible event that took place in Paris, France, where 129 some odd people died, and in Turkey, the people who are sitting in the stadium are booing during a moment of silence and chanting, Allah is God, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. That's insanity. Why is that? Why is it that the fans from Turkey yelled that? Why is it that the G20 summit was in Turkey where Obama spoke? And I did a report on this yesterday, but he ranted and raved and praised Syrians coming into this country. Now, he also said that there is an intense screening process. Well, what is that screening process? I'm going to leave a link to this, but I'm just going to tell you what they do, and I'm going to kind of refer to my notes for just a moment, is they define a refugee as someone who is in fear of being persecuted for reasons of race, religion, nationality, membership of particular social group, or political opinion in outside of country of his nationality, and is unable or owing to such fear is unwilling to avail himself of the protection of that country. That's the definition. What's the process? Well, they come in. If they come in under that definition, well, then they're allowed to apply. They put in an application. I guess it's got a whole bunch of legal questions and whatnot. They are put through an intense screening process, I'm quoting. It includes an interview, a medical evaluation, an interagency security screening process aimed at ensuring refugees do not pose a threat to the U.S., and the average time for processing takes 18 to 24 months. 18 to 24 months, right. Okay, so with that in mind, here refugees are pouring into the country the day of. You think these 10,000 refugees that Obama is going to be allowing into the country next month are all pre-screened? I don't think so. You know, they're coming in hordes and they're losing them. They're not even, there is some refugees have gone missing, have, I think, MIA and whatnot. And so, hey, you know, don't worry. It's an intense process. But let me just show you how well it's working. Let's dive into this next report. We are once again at dailymail.co.uk. America's enemies within. How nearly 70 have been arrested in America over ISIS plots in the last 18 months, including refugees who had been given safe haven but turned to terror. Federal and local law enforcement agencies have made dozens of arrests of men and women suspected of ISIS involvement. Analysis show that they include refugees who entered the U.S. as refugees. You don't hear that on the mainstream media. Increasing pressure from Republicans not to accept refugees from Syria on scale demanded by the White House. Ted Cruz plans to introduce legislation forbidding refugee status to Syrian Muslims, and moves also underway to defund settling refugees. So this was just put out on the 18th of November by Ben Ashford. Great post here. I highly recommend you read it. But here's the thing. There's actually states that are protesting the refugee crisis after what happened in Paris. And I believe there's 31 of them. They include Arizona, Texas, Alabama, Michigan, Illinois, Maine, New Hampshire, and many others. Those are some of the ones that I know off the top of my head. But people are beginning to get fed up with this. But see how good the system of screening works? That we had to have 70 have been arrested in America in the past 18 months. And how many refugees have they let in the last 18 months? Not a whole lot. Wait until they let in about 10,000 to 100,000. Now, here's some other things to think about with what happened in Turkey. Guess what the highest or the most, and this is on Breitbart.com, and the official most popular name in London, Muhammad. Muhammad, why is that? Because the country is being infiltrated from within. Here's blog.new.spectre.co.uk. Muhammad really is the single most popular boy's name in England and in Wales. Here we have European countries with Muslims' name being the predominant. Why? Because the goal of Islam is to infiltrate the country from within. They've said this on numerous occasions, and it's working for them. They're going into the country. This time, they're going to be coming in through the Syrian refugee with the Syrian they're already coming in through the border at Mexico, between Mexico and America. We know that. But they're going to infiltrate even more and easier when they come in with the Syrian refugees. 100%. There's good people coming in and not so good people. What has happened in America so far? Here we are on JerusalemPost.com. ISIS threatens after Paris, says that Washington is next. Washington is next. Here is another one. I think this is the right link. FBI braces for Islamic State holiday terror attack. And this is found on the Washington Times. Brace yourself for the holidays because, hey, we could have a holiday terror attack. Now here's also what I want to show you here is these are pictures of some of the Syrian refugee footage going into countries all over. You can see the long masses of them pouring in. And you know what? The pictures here don't even speak volumes. There's a lot of videos out there. I really want to encourage you, and I'll leave a link to a video that's actually been banned by Facebook and many other sites. Google is attempting to delete it now, and they actually show how bad the crisis is, and I highly encourage you guys to watch that. They're putting them in camps, refugee camps here, as you can see these images here as well, but definitely worth Googling and seeing the pouring in of the refugees here. I think this is a good picture right here of how they're pouring in to the country here. So there's that. All right. Now, one last thing I want to cover is here's a post I put out back in October. Zuckerberg busted on Live Mic cutting deal with the devil. And what he's done here, and that's Angela Merkel of Germany, and she asks him about immigration. As we know, you get the fine in Germany, kind of Nazi-style speculations there, or implementations of laws. But he says we need to do some work here as far as in America to censoring more of posts that are anti-immigration. Now, let me show you his view. This is Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook page. And he says, as recent events have shown, many people around the world can benefit to help our community. And basically what he's done here, I don't want to read over all of it, you can pause it and read it, is he's funding money for Syrian refugees. Donate here so we can use this money for this, use the money for that. Here is safety checks that he initiated on Facebook in light of what happened in Paris, France last week. But he's definitely got a whole bunch of stuff on his Facebook page about, obviously he's pro the refugees because there is an agenda, which I'm going to get into in a moment. Now, I also stated earlier, and this is a question I put out on my Facebook page. I have a question for anyone who read this. Have you been banned from Facebook now or in the past? And like I said, I know about 15 people total through people that have emailed me and other reporters, specifically reporters who talk about the real deal. Anybody who is posting the truth about the immigration crisis is beginning to get restricted. And I got lots of comments here, as you can see, and you can pause this as well, but about how they are getting blocked, or they have been blocked, or they will be blocked, how they work with we know they work with the government, but all kinds of comments there, many of which have been blocked before or are being blocked. So something to think about. All that to say, there is an agenda with the immigration crisis, and I've said this a few times. There's a sevenfold agenda. One, destroy prominent countries, bring them down to third world countries. You've seen that in the pictures I've just showed you. You've seen that what's happening in Germany, what's happening in Europe. The crime rate will increase and bring terrorism into the countries. That's step number 2. The more terrorism that they bring in, the more that the American people will fear, and the more that they'll call for a global police force. Third, depopulation. That's going to happen as a result of increased terrorist attacks. 4, they're going to turn the country into a type of police state, and America is going to ask for it. More police on the street because crime is rising. There's eventually going to be no-go zones in America. There's already no-go zones all over Europe where the police, the ambulance, the any governmental thing will not go into these zones because of the crime, the high Islamic terrorism. It's actually, there's an Islamic terrorist capital in Europe, in Belgium. Don't quote me on that, but somewhere over there where they specifically call it the capital of ISIS, right in the middle of a European country. Another agenda is they'll accomplish biometrics, national ID, because these Syrian refugees have no ID. So let's make it for everyone, be it through a chip, mark of the beast style, or be it through some kind of ID card. And the last 2 agendas, we know as well as they're going to turn the problem internally towards patriots, towards people like me. Eventually, they're already saying it's just terrorists. They're not calling it Islamic terrorists. They're not calling it extremist terrorists. They're not calling it what it is. They're just saying terrorism. Therefore, it'll be easy for them to eventually turn that leaf over. And then finally, the implementation of the New World Order. A global crisis will need a global solution. It's not just Syrian refugees or any immigration, really, but global terror is going to cause for a global New World Order. Global climate change is going to cause for a global solution. 2 things that they're hugely going to use. Anyhow, wanted to bring you the latest. This is Lisa Haven signing off. Thanks for listening in on my channel, and if you like what you heard, please hit that subscribe button now. Click the button and follow me on YouTube. Also, if you are not prepped with food and water at this moment, I highly recommend you check out Food for Liberty. I will leave a link below so you can check that out, but it's foodforliberty.com/ Haven. It's a great source to start storing up and prepping for food supplies. In addition, also check out some stuff on detoxing your body from chemtrails and chemicals at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Anyhow, wanted to bring you all of this. This is Lisa Haven signing off.